It's been a while since we've had a sit-down, regular discussion about the Montreal Canadiens and the guys on the team. Today we're talking about two players that are trending in opposite directions, and the reasons as to why things are going down this way. Now, am I being dramatic in the title, the thumbnail? Maybe so, but a little hyperbole's never hurt anybody, now hasn't it? Let's talk today about forwards Josh Anderson as well as Cole Caufield. Because while one has gone out there with multiple multi-point games in a row, the other has underwhelmed us to a point that now we're starting to see analyses being posted by Canadiens fans as to why things are going down this way. So before we get over onto the negative Nancy stuff, let's talk about Josh Anderson, because man oh man, the guy is up to 4 points in his most recent 2 games played. He had a goal and an assist last night as the Montreal Canadiens beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-2. And a lot of these plays, man, the guy's starting to get rewarded for what it is that Josh Anderson does best. Driving to the net, forcing results at hand, and just causing a ruckus in the crease. Now, you could debate that the assist that Josh Anderson had may not have been the cleanest one out there. He settles the puck down with his hand, and Christian Dvorak puts it in the back of the net. It could have been a hand pass. It could have not been. I mean, I thought it was a hand pass. I thought they'd call it off for sure, but they didn't. Josh Anderson ends up getting 2 points on the night as a result, though. And of course, this game against the Winnipeg Jets was followed up to Josh Anderson's 2 goals against the New York Islanders, that in which we had talked about in the Canadiens and Islanders post-game video that you could check out if you wanted to see that. Long story short, Anderson has been a beast, and we're starting to see him finally get on the board. He's putting the puck in the back of the net, the shots are going in. This is what they call the tides turning, is it not? Anderson is now up to 9 points in 31 games played this season, significantly increasing his production and point pace for 23-24. It was just like 2 weeks ago. The guy was only on pace for like 3 goals on the entire year. He had only scored an empty netter up to this point. Now in the prior 2 games, he's got 3. So there you go, quadrupling his overall goal production on the season. Now he's on pace for about 11 goals in 82 games played and 13 assists. 24 points is definitely not ideal, especially considering the track record of what he's done in the past, but there still is a hard-working, hard-nosed winger here in Anderson that at the very least is boosting up some sort of trade value with his play as of late. Sure, he's still expensive. $5.5 million a year till the end of 2027 is not cheap. But for a guy who provides the intangibles that Anderson has, there's a reason teams around the NHL covet and seem to always be willing to give a guy like this a job. Even if he is overpaid, people are going to go out there and say, oh, should we trade for Anderson? Salary retained, this and that, and the speed and the size and the physical traits and all of the great things that come with that. So, Josh Anderson has been on the up and up, and that's awesome to see, right? I'm not going to say he scores 2 points a game for the rest of the season, but seeing 4 points in his recent 2 games is indeed a good sign, even if you say that the assist that he had should not have counted because Christian Dvorak took it off of a hand pass, but still. With Anderson on the up and up, though, what I also wanted to do was go over some ideas regarding Cole Caufield and why, quote-unquote, he has been struggling this season. Now, while Josh Anderson has scored 2 points in his previous 2 games each for 4 total points in that stint, Cole Caufield has 1 point each in each of the previous 2 games as well. He had an assist yesterday against the Jets, and he scored a goal against the Islanders. Ever since then, though, Caufield had been on some sort of a mini slump, going 4 games without a point and only scoring 1 point in his last 6 games before then. Plain and simple, Cole Caufield is not producing like we thought he'd be able to do. If you go over to his overall point production on the season, Caufield is stranded at 22 points in 31 games played, on pace for around 58 points. Now sure, that number isn't bad. It would be a career high, and he would grab himself a career high in assists. But when it comes to what we thought Caufield would be able to do, which was, very simply, score more goals than the opposition, then it's kind of fair to say he's lacking in that department. He's got 8 goals on the year on pace for around 21, which would be fewer goals than the previous 2 seasons he had had, even with the significant games played advantage for this year. Last season, he had 26 goals in 46 games played, so that is a staggering number, and if you do the math on that, 26 divvy 46 multiplied out by 82, that was on pace for a 46-goal year, so crazy stuff right there. Now, what I also wanted to do was go over onto a few Reddit threads that kind of try to explain what's going on with Cole Caufield and see where exactly everything is coming from. Here's a post made on the Our Hockey subreddit. What's going on with quote-unquote disappointing player? The post is looking at some of the guys around the NHL who are struggling, and it pretty much asks the question, hey, let me know in the comments what's going on with Andrei Svechnikov, Ryan Johansson, Connor Brown, Trevor Zegras, etc., etc. And one of the comments from Reggie Rock 2010 goes out there and says, hey, 8 goals in 30 games from a guy with the nickname of Goal is pretty brutal as well, obviously referring to Cole Caufield's Goal Caufield nickname. And the top reply from Maximal times 5 says this: there are 3 main reasons for Cole Caufield to be struggling like he is. Firstly, he's coming back from shoulder surgery. His shot still isn't as lethal as it used to be, although it's getting back there slowly. 2, he's more focused on rounding his game this year. His defensive play has noticeably improved this season, and he's also started dishing out some hits, funnily enough. And third, and this is the reason that I think most people are undervaluing and not really paying attention to, as much as I despised Mike Hoffman, he had a legitimate shot in the power play, and it forced opposing penalty kills to cover him. This season, there's no scoring threat on Caufield's opposite side, so there's always a guy covering Caufield and another covering the pass to Caufield. Until the Habs get another legitimate scoring threat on that right side, or Slavkovsky's shot improving, I don't foresee this improving much. And that is a really underrated aspect to this entire Caufield conversation, because Mike Hoffman was a scoring threat on the right side of the power play and Cole Caufield was a scoring threat on the left side of the power play. It forced penalty killers to pay attention to both sides, keep an eye out for 2 snipers on both the left and the right. Because the Canadiens are running a system where now Cole Caufield is really the only lethal shot. Nick Suzuki kind of plays a little bit up high, he sort of plays closer to the net sometimes too. There's not that scoring threat that is coming down the right flank. And when Nick Suzuki is in that position, you can see it opens up plays, it opens up lanes, Suzuki can come down in and snipe it, but Cole Caufield, because everybody knows he's so talented at scoring goals, everybody is locking in on him, because they don't necessarily always need to lock on to that guy on the right wing. Mike Hoffman's presence added another element of danger to these power play opportunities, which allowed teams to open up Caufield's lane more. There also was another post made on the Canadiens sub, another reason why Caufield may not be producing a lot that I don't see mentioned, posted by Paparmain. He's exhausted. We often say that he's focusing on other areas of the game, but I feel like it's not just a case of having his mind elsewhere. He works really hard over the ice, and oftentimes we can see that he looks more tired than Suzuki and Slavkovsky. He used to play by basically waiting on his spot. I'm guessing that it's not exactly the same to aim when you're exhausted. It would probably be like that the whole season. He will have to train his cardio more than usual in this offseason. I remember the same thing happening with Kotkaniemi. He had a lot of difficulty following the pace of play, and he just said that he trained his muscles more than his cardio. Worked out in the offseason and came back much better the next year. We're also going to say stuff about the surgery that indeed was discussed about more so in the comments section, that the recovery time is going to be there, and then there's this idea as well posted by Mr. Fulb. I think other teams just expect him and put in the effort to cover him more. He's not being underrated by other teams like last year. He's our sole offensive threat, and other teams know easily how to smother him. Because, yeah, the guy's only 5'7", it's a lot easier to lock down on that type of a profile. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about one, Josh Anderson being on the rise, how he's been legitimately great the past 2 games here, and Cole Caufield's decline as well. What's going on with these 2 guys? Where do you think their 23-24 seasons are going to go? How many points do you think Caufield ends off the year? Right now, he is on pace for, what's the number again? 58 points and 21 goals. Does he break these numbers? Does he find himself a streak wherein he's able to get back to the same point production metric that he had last season on a 46-goal pace and just under a point per game? Things are looking a little bit different now. But, of course, there are other positive things around the Canadiens' forward core as well. Josh Anderson being one of those in the past few days definitely is a good sign. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this entire Montreal Canadiens conversation. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.